January! A month full of shit movies. But today, I decided to go to the movies to watch A Dog's Purpose. And I have two questions for you. Do you like movies about dogs who die? Do you like movies with Josh Gad, who voiced Olaf? Then you're gonna love A Dog's Purpose. But Nick, you may be asking, what if I don't like either of those things? Then you're not gonna like this movie. So essentially, A Dog's Purpose is a movie about a dog, Bailey, as it says in the trailers, played by Josh Gad, who it's a chronicle of essentially this dog's journey through life and trying to find his purpose in the movie itself. Now, I'm not going to give away a lot of spoilers. There is going to be some minor spoilers here and there. It just depends on what I'm going to talk about, really. So if you're not really comfortable with spoilers, then don't watch this video, I guess. But the main thing is like, again, this is a movie, my opinions and whatnot, but whatever. Let's start off with the thing everyone wants to talk about, and that is the controversy that this film is stirring around Hollywood. And essentially what happened is that there was a set leak footage that essentially showed a German Shepherd being forced into the water and barely keeping its head up above the water, so the people had to go in and rescue it. And essentially, yeah, that's a really stupid thing to do. But the thing is that people aren't going to go see this movie because of that. No. When people hear about how boring this is and how forgettable this movie is, that's reason enough to not go see this movie. Aside from the movie being in January of all months, where you get movies like Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, Triple X, and Underworld Blood Wars. You know, January is that month of the year where a lot of shit hits the fan. It's like the hangover you have from New Year's. You have all these great movies in December, and then you have that really shitty hangover in January. That's essentially January in a nutshell when it comes to films being released in the United States. Now, while A Dog's Purpose isn't as bad as those movies are, as most movies are in January, it still has a lot of problems, and I'm going to get into that. The first problem I have is with Josh Gad. Even though he does carry the movie entirely as a dog, the problem is that it's because of his voice acting that I found it very distracting. There are parts of this movie where the plot of some of the human characters get interesting, and then he interjects with his own dialogue, and I felt that some of his dialogue needed to be dialed back a lot. And one thing too is that this film felt too long. It is even a bit too long. What I think needed to happen is that because this film takes place in like 4 different time eras of this one character's life as 4 different dogs, it needed to be condensed a bit while also expanded. I wanted to see some actual character development in this film. There's not a lot of character, quote-unquote, character development for the dog character. And that's a real problem with this movie, is that you have a dog. The title of the movie is A Dog's Purpose. And the problem is that the dog doesn't learn much of anything. He doesn't. The only thing he learns is how to love, and that's it. But there's no, like, inner conflict with this character. There's no sort of... There's nothing that really challenges this character, in a way, or nothing that really hugely affects him. Like, he could die over and over and over, but he will still come back as a dog. So there's no consequence for him. There's really none. And it's kind of sad in a way, because I'm a lover of dog films, and obviously, like, I had a dog. You know, he was like the best friend I always had. You know, it was the dog that my dad gave me when I was a kid, and that was all I had. That was all I had to remind me of my father, in a way. And, you know, this movie really doesn't really sit well with me. Again, it's not a flat-out terrible movie, because there is some stuff I liked about it. Some of the lines they give to the dog is actually quite funny. The dogs are really well shot. The cinematography's okay at times. But the rest of it just seems forgettable. The story, I probably won't remember it in about a week. And, you know, and let's compare dog movies for a second. Old Yeller. What does everyone remember about that film? You remember the boy trying to learn to grow up and to adapt and to grow into a person, an adult. And the only way he could do it is to kill his dog, Old Yeller, because he was, you know, he was dying, in a sense. That's what you remember about that film. Now look at this film. The only thing you remember are the dogs. That's pretty much it. Or unless you're a Dennis Quaid fan, then I guess you can like it for that and remember that. Like, there's nothing in this film that really makes it compelling. It's just kind of there. And the only thing I heard in the audience reaction, was laughing because Josh Gad and going, "Aw, cute puppies," from everyone else. That's all the reaction. Like, I mean, granted, the first time that we see the dog die, it's a real tearjerker because it builds it up over a course of an hour. We see that life. But it kind of gets ruined afterwards because you have a short segment as a German Shepherd, then another short segment as a Corgi, and then to a Saint Bernard, or whatever the dog breed is that he is at the end of the movie. And it kind of just breaks it up. And it's not as effective each time afterwards. It's not as effective. And that it loses steam after that first hour. The first hour was well paced, I'd say. Granted, it kind of does these flash forwards, which are kind of annoying. But, you know, that first half of the movie, it's effective by the end. Because you've seen this dog grow in a way, and it was kind of jerky. It was kind of tear jerky. And reminded me about how my dog died too. My dog had almost a similar condition. Even though he wasn't lethargic, you know, he lost a lot of weight. He had hemangiosarcoma, which is it's a type of blood cancer that affects thyroids. You know, it was a terrible time for my dog, and to see that on the screen was really, like, I couldn't stand it. I cried. But afterwards, I had almost no investment in the character. And that was also a real problem I had with the book, which the movie is based after, is that it has this inconsistency, with not really inconsistency, but the narrative keeps getting blocked off, and you have no emotional connection with anything. You just kind of like hear a memoir, and that's about it. It's a dog's memoir about life. It's like it's philosophy. It's the tree of life for dogs, as the Cinema Snob said in his review for A Dog's Purpose. But all in all, in terms of January movies, this one's kind of disposable. It's one of those films that you can go in, see some cute dogs, get some emotional impact from it, but not necessarily remember it after a couple weeks. So, A Dog's Purpose for me gets a 4 out of 10. It's gonna get forgettable. I'm probably not gonna buy it. I'm probably not even gonna rent it again, really. There's nothing much for me to get attached to with this film. So, guys, what did you think of A Dog's Purpose if you've seen A Dog's Purpose, or if you're one of those people that wants to protest it because of the animal rights violations, what have you? But what's your favorite animal film? Comment down below. And as always, I'll see you behind the camera. Peace.